You didn't build a faith, you built a mirror, and it's been agreeing with you ever since. A king walks into a room already knowing what he wants. His name is Ahab. He's got a war to fight, a decision already made, and a conscience he doesn't want to hear from. So he does what comfortable religion has always permitted. He assembles an audience, 400 prophets, 400 voices, and every single one of them stands up and tells him exactly what he walked in believing. Go up. God is with you. You'll win. 400 confirmations, and he still died exactly the way the one honest voice said he would. Now here's the thing nobody slows down to say about that story. Those 400 prophets didn't corrupt Ahab with heresy. They didn't drag him into false doctrine. They handed him a sword made of agreement and called it the voice of God. That's what killed him. Not a lie. A very comfortable, very spiritual, very well-attended partial truth. And that same dynamic is alive right now. In buildings with crosses on the wall, on platforms with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, maybe in the exact church you drove home from last Sunday feeling full. Stay with me, because what I want you to see isn't about someone else's pastor. It's about something you might be building without realizing it. Before Ahab ever called in his 400, Jehoshaphat asked a question that should have stopped everything. Is there not a prophet of the Lord here we haven't heard from? He felt something off. 400 voices all saying the same thing, too clean, too smooth, too perfectly aligned with what the king already wanted. And Ahab's response is one of the most honest and damning lines in all of Scripture. He said, "There's still one man, but I hate him. He never prophesies anything good about me, only bad." Read that slowly. He hated the one man telling the truth, not because the truth had been proven wrong, because it had never once been comfortable. That prophet was Micaiah, and even the messenger who went to fetch him leaned in and whispered, "Look, every other prophet is saying the king will succeed, just go along with him." Micaiah said, "I can only tell you what God actually says. One voice against 400. He told the truth anyway. He was thrown in prison for it. Ahab rode into battle, ignored the warning, and died there, exactly as Micaiah said." Paul saw this pattern coming. In 2 Timothy 4:3, he writes that the time would arrive when people would not tolerate sound doctrine, that instead they'd surround themselves with teachers who tell them what their itching ears want to hear. That phrase sounds almost gentle until you realize what it means. It means the hunger was genuine. The desire to encounter God was real. But instead of letting that hunger drive them toward truth, they fed it with agreement, with atmosphere, with the feeling of being in the right room. And here's what that produces. Someone who has been going to church for 5 years and hasn't changed in 4. Someone who keeps showing up, keeps singing every song, keeps feeling something, and still carries the same fears, the same patterns, the same unexamined compromises they walked in with. Not a hypocrite, just someone who has been fed spiritual sensation instead of spiritual formation. There is a version of seeking God that is actually running from Him. It looks like faithfulness from the outside. It feels like peace on the inside. But what it really is a mirror. You have arranged your inputs, your church, your podcasts, your YouTube algorithm, so that everywhere you look, you see a reflection of the version of yourself you want to be. Blessed, confirmed, fine. And the Micaiah voice, the word that actually costs you something, that calls you somewhere you don't want to go, that voice gets quietly moved to the edges. Not with anger, just with the same choice Ahab made. I prefer the other 400. So let me ask you something directly, and I want you to sit with it honestly. When's the last time a sermon genuinely unsettled you? Not offended you, not made you uncomfortable in a self-righteous way, but named something real, asked something of you, cost you something. When's the last time you left a service and had to wrestle with what you heard? If you can't remember, that's not a sign of spiritual maturity. It might be a sign of something else entirely. Because there's a difference between a word that flatters you and a word that frees you. They don't feel the same. The word that flatters warms you immediately and leaves you unchanged. The word that frees often unsettles you first. It names something true. It points somewhere you haven't wanted to look. In John 8:32, Jesus doesn't say the right atmosphere will set you free. He says the truth will set you free. Truth. Not comfort, not confirmation, not the version of the gospel that asks nothing of you. And truth only reaches people who have left a door open for it, who haven't quietly arranged their entire spiritual life around the assurance that they're already fine. Here's what I want you to take from this. Ahab had Micaiah in the room. He had one honest voice available to him, and he chose the 400. He didn't have to. That's the part of the story people skip past. He had a choice, and so do you. Not to seek out discomfort for its own sake, not to treat every warm moment in worship with suspicion, but to be honest with yourself about what you're actually looking for when you walk through those doors. Are you looking for God, or are you looking for a mirror, someone to reflect back the version of yourself you've already decided you are? That question doesn't come to shame you. It comes because the God who asks hard things is the same God who knows exactly where you need to go. Leave a comment below. Has there been a moment in your life when a hard truth changed something in you that nothing else could reach? I want to hear that story. And if this is the kind of content you're looking for, truth that doesn't perform for you, subscribe. We're here every week, and we're not going to tell you what you already believe.